How do then, chums? 'Tis I, Captain Steve, and today, chums, for you guys in the viewerverse, I'm doing a review of Exobiology Expedition 5 with Inside of No Man's Sky. So yes, so this expedition has got good points and it has bad points, and in this review I'm going to cover off all those good points and bad points and then give you my review at the end. I'm going to score it out of 10. Now I'm taking off just by a colossal archive here, and that is a colossal mistake because I bounce all over the frickin' shop like a frickin' pinball on this one. Yes, help, I'm going to frickin' die. Anyhow, that was my own doing. I landed by the landing pad, not on the landing pad. I was aiming for the landing pad. It went green. I tried to landed next to it. I don't know what happened there. Now there are some okay new additions to the actual missions here. Like one, you've got to genetically modify an egg. However, the genetic modification on eggs, everybody knows, it doesn't really change your pets all that much. It may change the head. It may give you one or two variants on the same creature, but everybody's going to see the same variant. So if you make an alteration to a strider, maybe it's going to get a demony type head, and we've all seen that happen. It's very rare that it's going to sprout some freaking wings or an extra set of legs. It just doesn't happen. It'd be nice if the genetics went a tad deeper anyway, but yes, nice to see that in there. Now there are a lot of grindy sort of missions like this one, where you've got to feed creatures and collect their poo. Not just one or two poos, or 10 or something. No, 50 frickin' shites you have to go through and rummage through. Then there was this oddly worded mission that said to take pictures of 10 fauna or 10 of your companions or something. But what it was is you actually have to get a gathering of about 10 faunas on the planet and then do an aerial shot to get all of them in one photo. Took me a little while to get my head around that one. I was like, why is this not going up? Why am I not getting the badge? What the fudge? And then I twigged it. You've got to get a photo with all the animals in one freaking photo. Pretty clever how Hello Games' engine works out how many creatures are in a shot. There are some nice fauna in this, like this little guy that I found here. He's so freaking cute, isn't he? He really is. He's lovely. Yeah, I'm petting him. He's becoming my pet, heck yes. And I might even get his egg and transfer it over to my legacy save once this expedition converts to a normal save. However, what I would say is a lot of these badges were a bit misleading. Like some of them had the big majestic Diplo one, which looked fantastic. Or had the two rhinos. One of the posters had the two rhinos facing off against each other. From the E3 frickin' trailer, I would have loved it if this expedition took us to Araya V and we got to see the Diplo planet with the scripted rhinos that smash down trees. If you added that into this frickin' expedition Hello Games as a rendezvous, like Rendezvous 5 or something, this probably would have smashed it out the ballpark as being my favourite frickin' update ever with, well, best expedition ever, because that would have just been, oh my days, they finally delivered the E3 planet with the E3 Diplos that can wade in water, that have got nicely animated frickin' heads, unlike the ones that we've got that are like bloody cranes. Yeah, I know it's a little thing, but that'll make me super happy. Picking up 50 cruds that animals have laid, like chocolate eggs? No, not fun. Not fun at all. Very grindy indeed. So talking of grinds, not only do we have to pick up 50 turds, but we've got the famous explorer that's gone and returned into this one. So we've already had this in a previous expedition. It's just a complete copy and paste straight into this new edition. It does feel like the UI has been changed somewhat on these guys that you turn in the mission. Sometimes it says hand in mission or pick up new missions. Other times it's got a green label and you hit it and you hand in the mission. It confused the freaking fudge out of me doing this one. But yes, you've got to run 16 explorer missions. Luckily I sort of tied this into hitting up travellers and getting the glyphs, but even that was a grind. So this whole expedition took me a total of 8 hours, thanks to just maybe 4 or 5 grindy sort of missions, like tracing down like 6 different types of milk or something. No, was it 4 types of milk and 3 types of eggs, something like that. But they were a pain in the frickin' butt, because if you don't touch boots on the ground on every planet, you could miss one of these creatures. In the end, I just went and got all the portal glyphs and did it that way. And then there's a few other odd missions that sort of drag out and feel padded out for no real reason or sense of achievement. It just feels like, okay, well, this isn't fun anymore. And one of them was you have to pet a beetle, then ride it for something like 400,000 U's or something mental. Anyway, so I got on this beetle and I flew until I hit like the 2,000 mark and then circled back and came all the way back on myself just to pop a badge. And, you know, I've got a beetle as a pet. I've flown across planets with a beetle. It wasn't all that much fun. It was just me flying around, hovering around, wasting time and waiting for a a badge to pop. It didn't build the trust with the beetle, and that's another thing, is the trust is actually linked to a timer. So whichever creature you want to build your trust up on anyway, you can do whatever the fudge you like to it. You can feed it, you can pet it, you can ride it for freaking eons, but unless you wait for the full 24 hours, it doesn't actually pop the full trust. So a lot of my pets were sitting at 95%. I was spawning them on each planet and petting them and feeding them and wondering what the fudge was going on, but then realised that it was linked to a timer. So as soon as you've had it for 24 hours, it pops. Now there were a few niceties. I got that lovely little pet that I petted. It was cool, a little fluffy dude, and I came across a giant fish, which was quite nice. And when I say giant, it was large, it wasn't super large. Again, there's another poster that you unlock in game where it shows a giant fish swimming up. It's called the Abyss poster, and at the top it's got like a little settlement icon. It almost feels like we should come across a giant fauna that's bigger than a settlement. There's nothing like that inside of this expedition. You do get a badge for speaking to this sort of weird, sort of gaseous entity in space, which was quite nice. And that gaseous entity was quite cool. But it's not something I haven't seen before. I've seen that quite a lot. Now, I did encounter quite a few rendering and weirdness issues with inside of this update. So yeah, there's a freighter here that I'm sort of defending. Now, this is another thing. Every free jumps you do, every free warp jumps during expeditions, for some reason spawns in a bloody freighter battle. So after you've got your freighter, it's still spawning in these every free jumps. Now if you are looking for creatures, or you're looking for travellers, or you're trying to do the explorer missions, and every frickin' third jump results in a freighter battle, it's annoying as hell. Especially when the freighter doesn't even render in like I've got here. So you're going to fly through and you just bounce off of nothing and things. It's janky and it's immersion breaking. So I had that happening. But I also had another thing happen, that as I was landing on some of the planets with the larger flora structures on, sometimes I'd get snagged. It would pop in at the last minute and I get snagged on it. I mean, you just float. Normally, your ship would destroy anything in its way, and that wouldn't happen. Seems that's been turned off. There seems to be errors happening quite a lot now, and bugs in landing. I had to refresh and reload my game probably about 8 times during this because of that crash issue. Yeah, it just hangs your game. Now, what I have been enjoying, though, is when I've been talking to these travellers, a lot of them mention like the world of glass or realm under realms and things, especially on planet side, when you talk to these travellers planet side, when you're picking up their grave markers. And because of all the new Sentinel lore that we've had in the update, some of these travellers that you're hitting up to get the glyphs, their dialogue makes a lot more sense now, because they talk about how the Sentinels and them have been wiping out travellers, and now all the travellers smile in this other sort of subverse. It's really creepy. It creeped me out. I was like, what the fuck? What did they just say? Shivers down the spine. And yet, it's nice that it plays into, like I say, all the Sentinel lore. So it does tie into the recent update in a roundabout way, but then this wasn't actually in the expedition. I chose to do this. So can I give it extra points for that? Because no, I can't. So it has come down to scoring this. So although there were some really tedious missions in here, I have enjoyed this, but there were some very grindy elements. So I would say it was probably better than the first expedition, but they were cutting their teeth on the first expedition, weren't they? And we did get the Golden Vector, so that was a nice reward. This one has got some really nice rewards, but they should be getting good at delivering something entertaining throughout. This was not entertaining throughout. There was some moment watching the paint dry type feelings in this, and sheer padding. It felt grindy for grindy's sake. So therefore, I'm going to score this one a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it, but it could have been far better if they added a little bit more excitement in there and something a little bit more original. Until next time, goodbye, goodbye again. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, please hit a like and a subscribe, and I'd like to say a massive great big thank you to all of my backers over on Patreon and over on YouTube membership. Thanking you, backers! And if you want to support this channel, just don't skip the adverts. That throws revenue down my avenue. Or yeah, just stay with Captain Steve that little bit longer and hit something on this screen. There's merch here now too.